It was a warm summer evening in Las Vegas, the city of lights and endless possibilities. Keanu Reeves, the beloved Hollywood actor known for his humility and kindness, was in town for a film premiere. After a long day of interviews and appearances, he decided to take a quiet walk through the city to clear his mind. The neon lights of the Strip glittered in the distance, but Keanu found himself drawn to a small, unassuming church tucked away on a side street. The sign outside read, "All are welcome." Something about the simplicity of the place called to him. Keanu had always been a spiritual person, though he rarely spoke about his beliefs publicly. He had explored various philosophies and religions over the years, searching for meaning and purpose. But tonight, he felt an inexplicable pull toward the church. He pushed open the heavy wooden doors and stepped inside. The church was dimly lit, with soft candlelight flickering against the stained glass windows. A few people sat scattered among the pews, their heads bowed in prayer. The air was thick with a sense of peace and reverence. Keanu slipped into a pew near the back, his eyes scanning the simple yet beautiful interior. The altar was adorned with flowers, and a large crucifix hung above it, illuminated by a single beam of light. As he sat there, Keanu felt a wave of calm wash over him. It was as if the noise and chaos of the outside world had melted away, leaving only stillness and serenity. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, allowing himself to be fully present in the moment. Just as Keanu was about to stand and leave, something extraordinary happened. A young woman walked down the aisle, her steps slow and deliberate. She was dressed in simple clothes, her face pale and drawn. Keanu recognized her immediately. She was a street performer he had seen earlier that day, singing for spare change on the Strip. Her voice had been hauntingly beautiful, but there had been a sadness in her eyes that had stayed with him. The woman approached the altar and knelt down, her hands clasped in prayer. Keanu watched as she began to cry, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He felt a pang of empathy and considered going to her, but something held him back. It was as if he were meant to witness what was about to happen. Suddenly, a bright light filled the church. It was so intense that Keanu had to shield his eyes. When the light faded, he looked up and saw the woman standing at the altar, her face radiant with joy. Her tears were gone, replaced by a smile that seemed to light up the entire room. A man sitting nearby gasped. "It's a miracle!" he exclaimed. "She's healed!" Keanu's heart raced as he realized what had happened. The woman, who had been visibly ill and broken, now stood tall and strong, her eyes shining with newfound hope. The other parishioners began to murmur in awe, some falling to their knees in prayer. Keanu sat frozen in his pew, his mind reeling. He had always believed in the possibility of miracles, but to witness one firsthand was beyond anything he had ever imagined. He felt a profound sense of awe and humility, as if he had been granted a glimpse into something far greater than himself. As the woman left the altar, she turned and caught Keanu's eye. She smiled at him, a smile filled with gratitude and peace, and then walked out of the church. Keanu felt a lump in his throat. He didn't know what to do or say, but he knew that his life would never be the same. Keanu stayed in the church long after the other parishioners had left. He knelt at the altar, his head bowed in prayer. For the first time in his life, he felt a deep and undeniable connection to God. The walls he had built around his heart began to crumble, and he felt a sense of love and acceptance that he had never known before. "I believe," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I believe in you." Tears streamed down his face as he surrendered himself to the moment. He didn't have all the answers, and he knew his journey was just beginning. But for the first time, he felt a sense of peace and purpose that he had been searching for his entire life. The next morning, Keanu woke up feeling lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He returned to the church, hoping to speak with the pastor. The pastor, A kind and gentle man named Father Michael greeted him with a warm smile. "I saw you here last night," Father Michael said. "I could tell something profound happened to you." Keanu nodded. "It did. I witnessed a miracle, and it changed me. I want to learn more about Jesus and what it means to follow him." Father Michael's eyes lit up. "That's wonderful, Keanu. Faith is a journey, and I'd be honored to walk it with you." Over the next few weeks, Keanu spent time studying the Bible and attending services at the church. He found solace in the teachings of Jesus, particularly the message of love, forgiveness, and compassion. He also began to incorporate his faith into his daily life, using his platform to spread kindness and hope. Keanu's newfound faith had a profound impact on those around him. He started a foundation to help the homeless and those struggling with addiction, inspired by the woman he had seen healed in the church. He also began speaking openly about his faith, sharing his story to inspire others. One evening, Keanu returned to the church to give a talk about his journey. The pews were packed with people eager to hear his story. As he stood at the podium, he looked out at the crowd and smiled. "I came to this church searching for something," he began, "and what I found was more than I could have ever imagined. I witnessed a miracle, but the real miracle was what happened inside me. I found faith, hope, and love, and I want to share that with all of you." The audience erupted into applause, and Keanu felt a deep sense of gratitude. He knew his journey was far from over, but he was ready to embrace whatever came next. After the talk, Keanu was approached by the woman he had seen healed that night. She introduced herself as Sarah and thanked him for sharing his story. "You inspired me to keep going," she said. "After that night, I decided to turn my life around. I'm clean now, and I'm working to help others who are struggling." Keanu smiled. "You inspired me too, Sarah. Your courage and faith changed my life." Keanu's story spread far and wide, touching the hearts of millions. He became a symbol of hope and transformation, proving that it's never too late to find faith and purpose. And though he continued to be a Hollywood star, he remained grounded in his faith, always remembering the miracle that had brought him to Jesus. The small church in Las Vegas became a place of pilgrimage for many, a reminder that miracles can happen anywhere to anyone. And for Keanu, it was a place he would always return to, a sanctuary where he had found the greatest gift of all,